Your goal after watching this video is to have a variety of ways that you can use to compare rates. And the new one that we're going to talk about is graphing. Alright, so we're going to do the same problem about hot sauce and salsa, but we're going to solve it a variety of different ways. You mix 8 tablespoons of hot sauce and 3 cups of salsa in a green bowl. You mix 12 tablespoons of hot sauce and 4 cups of salsa in an orange bowl. Which mixture is hotter? So we're going to start and we're going to say, okay, we have hot sauce and we have salsa. And we have 8 tablespoons of hot sauce for every 3 cups of salsa. And then we have a second recipe over here, all right? And this one is supposed to be a different recipe, so we're going to make a separate table. Hot sauce and salsa. All right, and in this recipe, you mix 12 tablespoons of hot sauce and 4 cups of salsa. And again, the question is which is hotter, which is spicier. So we would assume that recipe with more hot sauce is going to be the hotter or spicier mixture. But when we look, we can see here that, yeah, they use less hot sauce than over here. So automatically you would think, okay, this one's going to be hotter because it has more hot sauce. But the problem is they also increase the salsa in this one, which won't increase the spiciness. It'll dilute some of that hot sauce. So they increase the salsa here. This one has less salsa. So yeah, if they have less salsa, it should have less hot sauce. This one more salsa, it should have more hot sauce. So the question is, which of those is hotter? Which is spicier? So we're going to use the approach of finding a recipe that has the same amount of salsa or the same amount of hot sauce in both recipes. So I'm just going to look at my hot sauce numbers and I've got my salsa numbers. If I look at those salsa numbers, I can see that I could make a batch with 12 cups of salsa because 3 and 4 are both factors of 12. So our goal is to get the same amount of one ingredient in each recipe. So we're going to go for both recipes being made with 12 cups of salsa. How much hot sauce would they need? I say, okay, 3 goes into 12 4 times. So I need to take the hot sauce times 4 as well. So if I use 12 cups of salsa, I'm going to need 32 tablespoons of hot sauce. Over here, recipe number 2, here I multiplied my salsa by 3, so I'm going to need to multiply my hot sauce by 3 as well. So here I'm going to use 36 cups of hot sauce. And now I can say, okay, they both have 12 cups of salsa, so that didn't change, but there is definitely more hot sauce in recipe number 2. So which mixture is hotter? Recipe number 2 is hotter because it has more hot sauce. Now, that didn't totally make sense to you. Let's try solving this problem in a different way. Okay, this time I'm going to have my 2 recipes again. So again, I have hot sauce and salsa to make this mixture. And I still have 2 different recipes, hot sauce and salsa. First recipe, again, has 8 tablespoons of hot sauce, 3 cups of salsa. This one, 12 tablespoons of hot sauce and 4 cups of salsa. So now instead of finding a bigger recipe where the amount of salsa is the same or the amount of hot sauce is the same, we're going to use unit rates. Remember, unit rate is a rate where the denominator is 1 unit. So we want our denominator, our salsa, to be 1. We want to find out how much salsa is in 1 cup of hot sauce. For this recipe over here, how much salsa would be in, or how much hot sauce would be in 1 cup of salsa? Remember, salsa is measured in cups, hot sauce is measured in tablespoons. All right, so again, a unit rate tells us how much would be in 1 unit, or 1 cup of salsa. So here I'm going to say, okay, how did they get from 3 to 1 by multiplying or dividing? They took 3 divided by 3. So we need to take, if we take our salsa and divide it by 3, we need to divide our hot sauce by 3. And when I do that, I get, I'm going to round it, about 2 67/100 tablespoons of hot sauce if we use 1 cup of salsa. All right, recipe number 2, we're going to say, oh, they took our salsa and they divided the salsa by 4. So we need to also divide the hot sauce by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So that would be 3 tablespoons. So then I look and I say, okay, if you're using 1 cup of salsa in each of these recipes, which one's going to use more hot sauce? Therefore making the recipe hotter. Recipe number 2, again, this just shows that this is another way to get the same answer as we got in this example. All right, example 1 also told us that recipe number 2 was hotter. All right, last approach. So another way to compare ratios is using a graph. So again, same problem. We've got hot sauce and salsa, and our first recipe is 8 tablespoons to 3 cups, and then our second recipe, hot sauce to salsa, 12 tablespoons to 4 cups. All right, so to graph a ratio, pick one of your quantities, hot sauce or salsa, to be on the x-axis. So let's just put hot sauce on the x-axis. Hot sauce, and we're going to measure that in tablespoons. All right, and then our other one, our salsa, can be on the y-axis. If you had switched these around, you'd still be able to figure out the answer. So salsa is in cups. Be impressed by my sideways writing here. It's better than I normally do. Okay, so then we're going to graph our ordered pair here. Hot sauce, 8. So we're going to say that's our x coordinates. We're going to pretend this is x, this is y. So we're going to go over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And up 3. 1, 2, 3. We should probably graph another pair just so we have another dot on there. Let's say we double our recipe. All right, and we use 6 cups of salsa. Then we have to double our hot sauce and use 16 tablespoons of hot sauce. So my next ordered pair is 16. So here's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then y number is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm going to grab my line tool here. Goodness knows I can't make a straight line without it. And still, it's not the best straight line ever. All right, so if I go through those 2 points, I'm going to get a line that looks like that. And I'm going to remind myself that that's recipe 1. Okay, now we're going to graph recipe 2. And we're going to say, okay, first ordered pair. Again, hot sauce is on the x-axis. So this is our x number, here's our y coordinate. So 12. So here's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If I would graph another pair, ordered pair, we could say, this time let's cut the recipe in half. So if we cut the salsa in half, we'd have 2. If we cut the hot sauce in half, we'd have 6. So our next ordered pair is 6, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then up 2. Okay, so these lines are really close. I'm just going to extend that out farther here so I can write by it. There's our recipe 2. Once we have these graphed, we can see that recipe 1, since the line here is steeper, that the y number is increasing faster. So the amount of salsa is increasing more than it is in recipe number 2. So if the amount of salsa is increasing more in recipe 1, that means it's going to be less hot. The more salsa it has in it and the less hot sauce, the less hot it will taste. Whereas recipe 2, the amount of salsa, right, our y number, isn't as high on the grid. So our y number is always below the y number or the salsa amount for recipe number 1. So this again shows us that since the rate of salsa isn't increasing, there isn't as much salsa in recipe number 2, shows us that recipe number 2 will be hotter. If you had flip-flopped the axes that these were both on, then it would have looked a little bit different, but still you could tell that the hot sauce was